Please, human. Let me try you on. The curious alien girl's plea. Jack Tanner stepped off the rickety shuttle ramp, his boots clanging against the metal floor of Nexus 7. The air smelled of rust and alien spices, a strange mix that tickled his nose. He adjusted the straps of his worn leather bag and ran a hand through his graying hair. After years of flying cargo ships through asteroid fields and dodging pirate ambushes, Jack had retired. No more chaos, no more close calls, just peace. Nexus 7, a dusty trading outpost floating on the edge of human and alien space, seemed like the perfect spot to disappear. The outpost buzzed with life. Traders shouted in languages Jack didn't understand, their voices blending with the hum of hovercrafts. Tall, insect-like beings bartered with squat, scaled creatures, while glowing drones zipped overhead. Jack weaved through the crowd, his eyes scanning for a place to rest. He found a small bar tucked between two stalls, its flickering sign promising cheap drinks. Inside, the dim light cast shadows over scratched tables and mismatched chairs. He ordered a glass of something strong and settled into a corner, content to watch the galaxy pass by. That's when he noticed her. Across the room, a figure stood out, not because she was loud or flashy, but because she was so still. Her skin shimmered faintly, like liquid silver, and her large, almond-shaped eyes glowed a soft violet. She was Venari, Jack guessed, a species he'd heard of but never met. They were known for their delicate frames and quiet ways, rarely venturing far from their homeworld. This one, though, seemed different. She stared at him, unblinking, her hands clasped tightly in front of her. Jack sipped his drink, trying to ignore her gaze. But then she moved. She crossed the bar with small, careful steps and stopped at his table. Up close, she was even stranger. Her skin rippled slightly, like water disturbed by a breeze. "Human," she said, her voice soft but clear. "I am Leela. May I sit with you?" Jack blinked, caught off guard. Sure. Go ahead." She slid into the seat across from him, her eyes never leaving his face. He shifted uncomfortably. "Something I can help you with." Leela leaned forward, her fingers trembling slightly. "I've heard about humans. Your kind. You survive things. Wars, storms, even the void of space. I want to know how. Please, human, teach me your strength." Jack nearly laughed. "Strength? Lady, I'm just a guy trying to enjoy a drink. I'm no teacher." But there was something in her voice, earnest, almost desperate, that made him pause. Her eyes sparkled with curiosity, and for a moment he felt a flicker of his old pilot's instinct, the part of him that thrived on challenges. Before he could answer, the ground shook. A deafening boom echoed through the bar, and the lights flickered out. Screams erupted outside as dust rained from the ceiling. Jack leaped to his feet, his heart racing. What the hell was that? He muttered, peering through the grimy window. In the distance, ships, sleek and black, hovered above the outpost. Raiders. He'd seen their kind before. Fast, ruthless, and here for anything they could steal. Leela grabbed his arm, her grip surprisingly firm. "What do we do?" Her voice trembled, but her eyes were wide with determination. Jack glanced at her, then at the chaos unfolding outside. People ran, shouting, as explosions lit up the marketplace. He could run too, grab his shuttle, and leave this mess behind. But something stopped him. Maybe it was her question, still ringing in his ears. Maybe it was the old fire in his chest, the one that never quite died. "Stay close," he said, pulling her toward the door. "We're not done talking yet." They stepped into the madness, smoke stinging their lungs. Jack scanned the wreckage, overturned carts, shattered stalls, and a growing crowd of panicked traders. The raiders were landing now, their ships kicking up clouds of dust. He didn't have a weapon, but he had his wits. And maybe, just maybe, that would be enough. Leela followed, her silver skin glinting in the firelight. "Will you fight?" she asked, her voice barely audible over the noise. Jack grinned, a spark of his old self breaking through. "Let's see what happens. Stick with me, and you might just learn something." As the raiders closed in, Jack's mind raced. He wasn't sure what Leela wanted from him, or why she cared. But one thing was clear. This quiet retirement was over. The air outside the bar was thick with smoke and the sharp tang of burning fuel. Jack crouched behind an overturned crate. Leela pressed close beside him. Her violet eyes darted around, taking in the chaos of Nexus 7. The raiders, hulking figures in dark armor, moved through the outpost like a storm, smashing stalls and dragging crates toward their ships. Shouts and the whine of energy weapons filled the air. Jack's pulse pounded in his ears, but his mind was steady, already piecing together a plan. "We can't just sit here," he muttered, scanning the wreckage. A few traders fought back, swinging pipes or firing weak pistols, but most ran or hid. The raiders outnumbered them, and their ships loomed overhead, ready to scoop up anything valuable. Jack's shuttle was on the far side of the outpost, too far to reach now. But he wasn't about to let these thieves win. Leela tugged at his sleeve, her voice shaky but firm. "What do humans do in this? How do you fight when it's hopeless?" Jack shot her a sideways glance. "It's not hopeless till it's over. Watch and learn." He spotted a broken hovercart nearby, its engine sparking faintly. An idea clicked. He darted out, keeping low, and yanked a jagged piece of metal from the wreckage. Leela followed, her movements quick despite her fragile look. "What are you doing?" she asked, crouching beside him as he pried open the cart's panel. Wires dangled inside, and a faint hum told him the power cell still worked. "Making something useful," Jack said, his hands moving fast. He'd fixed ships under fire before. This was no different. He twisted wires together, sparking the engine back to life, then jammed the metal shard into the throttle. "This'll be our distraction." He pointed to a group of raiders near a fuel tank. "If that cart hits over there, it'll draw them off. Then we hit back." Leela's eyes widened. "You're building a weapon?" "From nothing." "From what's here," Jack corrected, grinning. "Humans don't quit. We improvise." He shoved the cart, and it lurched forward, picking up speed as it careened toward the fuel tank. The raiders turned, shouting, just as the cart slammed into the tank. A fireball erupted, lighting up the night and sending the armored figures scrambling. "Now," Jack yelled. He grabbed Leela's hand and ran toward a cluster of traders hiding behind a stall. "You lot, grab anything you can swing or throw. They're off balance. Let's push him back." The traders hesitated, their faces pale with fear. A scaled alien with 3 arms shook his head. "They're too strong. We can't win." Jack stepped forward, his voice firm. "You don't have to win alone. Together, we've got a shot. Trust me." Something in his tone, or maybe the fire in his eyes, stirred them. The scaled alien nodded, picking up a metal rod. Others followed, clutching tools and debris. Leela watched, her breath quickening. Jack led the charge, a ragtag group armed with scraps against armored raiders. He swung a pipe at one, knocking the weapon from its hands, then tackled it to the ground. The traders joined in, their fear turning to fury. Leela stayed close, dodging blows and dragging an injured trader to safety. The raiders, caught off guard by the sudden resistance, faltered. One ship lifted off, then another, retreating under the onslaught. When the dust settled, the outpost was a mess. Burning stalls, scattered goods, and a few raiders left behind, groaning in the dirt. The traders cheered, slapping Jack's back. He wiped sweat from his brow, catching his breath. Leela approached, her silver skin streaked with soot. "You did it," she said, awe in her voice. "You turned nothing into this." Jack shrugged, leaning against a crate. "We did it. You helped too." He nodded toward the trader she'd saved. "That's strength, not just fighting, but caring." Leela tilted her head, her violet eyes searching his face. "Can I learn this? This fire inside you?" "It's not something I can hand over," Jack said, his tone softening. "It's built from living through tough times. But stick around. You might pick it up." She smiled, small but real, and Jack felt a spark of something new. Curiosity, maybe, or connection. The moment broke as a low rumble shook the ground. The traders froze, looking up. Dark clouds rolled in fast, crackling with energy. "Storm's coming," someone muttered. Jack frowned. This wasn't just weather. Nexus 7's orbit made storms rare but deadly. The outpost, already battered, wouldn't survive it without a fight. Leela grabbed his arm again. "What now, human?" Jack stared at the sky, then at the people around him. "Now we get ready. Round 2's coming." The wind howled through Nexus 7, tugging at Jack's jacket as he stood among the scattered remains of the outpost. The storm loomed closer, a wall of black clouds streaked with lightning. The air buzzed with static, and the ground trembled under the weight of what was coming. The traders huddled together, their earlier victory forgotten as fear crept back in. Jack's mind raced. He'd flown through storms in space, but this was different. This was raw, untamed, and ready to tear the outpost apart. Leela stood beside him, her silver skin reflecting the flashes of light. "What do we do now?" she asked, her voice steady despite the chaos. Jack could see it in her eyes. She wasn't just asking for a plan. She wanted to understand him, to dig into that human stubbornness she'd seen earlier. "We survive," Jack said, scanning the outpost. The raiders had left it in shambles. Half the shelters were gone, and the power grid flickered weakly. He spotted a tall comms tower, its metal frame bent but standing. "That's our chance. If we can rig it to ground the lightning, we might save what's left." Before he could move, a shadow fell over them. 3 figures approached through the dust. Vinari, like Leela, but taller and sterner. Their silver skin gleamed, and their violet eyes narrowed at Jack. The leader, an elder with a voice like a low hum, spoke. "Human, your kind brings trouble. First raiders, now this storm. Leave before you destroy us all." Jack bristled. "I didn't call the raiders, or the storm. We fought together and won. I'm not running now." Leela stepped forward, her hands clenched. "He stayed when he could have left. He's helping us. Why can't you see that?" The elder's gaze flicked to her, sharp and cold. "You defend him, Leela. Your curiosity blinds you. Humans are reckless." The other traders murmured, some nodding, others looking to Jack with uncertainty. He felt the weight of their doubt, but he'd faced worse odds before. "We don't have time for this," Jack said, cutting through the tension. "That storm's coming whether you trust me or not. Help me, or get out of the way." He turned to Leela. "You with me?" She nodded, her jaw set. The elder scowled but said nothing as Jack jogged toward the tower, Leela at his heels. The wind whipped around them as they climbed the creaking structure. Jack's hands gripped rusted rungs, his muscles straining. Below, the outpost looked small and fragile, a speck against the storm. "Grab that cable," he shouted over the roar, pointing to a thick wire dangling from the tower's top. Leela reached for it, her slender fingers trembling but determined. She pulled it free and handed it to him. Jack tied the cable to a metal rod, then drove it into the ground with a scavenged hammer. "This'll draw the lightning away from the shelters, if it works." He glanced at Leela, her face lit by a flash of thunder. "You're doing good. Keep up." She smiled faintly. "I want to be strong like you, not just watch." Jack paused, struck by her words. Before he could reply, a crack split the air. Lightning struck the tower, and the cable sparked wildly. The ground shook, but the shelters held. It was working. Then the elder's voice cut through the wind. "Human." He and the other Vinari stood below, pointing at the horizon. A massive wall of dust rolled toward them, kicked up by the storm's fury. "Your trick won't stop that." The traders panicked, scrambling for cover. Jack cursed under his breath. The lightning was one thing. This was a whole new beast. "We need to anchor the shelters," he yelled, sliding down the tower. Leela followed, her movements faster now, more sure. They hit the ground running, grabbing ropes and metal stakes from the wreckage. Jack showed her how to tie knots, his hands guiding hers. "Pull tight, harder." She did, her strength surprising him. Together, they secured one shelter, then another, shouting for others to help. The dust wall hit like a tidal wave, blinding and deafening. Jack shielded Leela with his body as debris flew past. When it cleared, the shelters still stood, battered but intact. The traders emerged, wide-eyed, as the storm began to fade. The elder approached, his expression unreadable. "You saved us," he said, almost grudgingly. "Why?" Jack wiped dirt from his face. "Because it's what humans do. We don't give up." Leela beamed beside him, her hand brushing his arm. "And I'm learning," she added softly. The elder studied them, then nodded. "Perhaps there's more to your kind than recklessness." Jack grinned. Maybe he'd found something worth fighting for after all. The storm had passed, leaving Nexus 7 bruised but standing. The sky cleared, revealing a sea of stars that glittered like hope against the dark. Jack stood amid the wreckage, his clothes torn and his hands scraped raw. Around him, the traders picked through the debris, their voices a mix of relief and exhaustion. The shelters held, thanks to the ropes and stakes he and Leela had scrambled to set. The comms tower still smoked faintly, its cable blackened from the lightning it had diverted. Jack let out a long breath, feeling the weight of the day settle into his bones. Leela approached, her silver skin dusted with grit, but her violet eyes bright. "We did it," she said, her voice warm with pride. She stood taller now, less fragile than when they'd met. Jack nodded, a tired smile tugging at his lips. "Yeah, we did. You're tougher than you look." She tilted her head, a spark of curiosity still burning. "Is this your strength? This, refusing to break?" Jack chuckled, leaning against a cracked wall. "Part of it. The rest is just being too stubborn to quit." Layla laughed, a soft, musical sound that cut through the quiet. It was the first time he heard her laugh, and it lit something inside him. The moment faded as the Venari elder approached, his stern face softened by the ordeal. Behind him, the other two Venari watched, their gazes less hostile now. "Human," the elder began, his voice steady. "You've proven yourself today. We misjudged you." He paused, glancing at Layla. "And you, child. You've changed too. This human has taught you something." Layla nodded. "He's shown me what it means to keep going. I want to learn more." The elder's eyes narrowed, but there was no anger there, only thought. He turned to Jack. "Our people have watched yours from afar. We thought you loud, brash, weak. But now," he gestured to the outpost, still standing despite the odds. "Now we see differently." Jack straightened, sensing a shift. "What are you saying?" The elder clasped his hands, a gesture Jack didn't understand but felt was important. "We propose an alliance, the Venari and your human worlds. Trade, knowledge, strength, shared between us. Will you carry this offer to your people?" Jack blinked, caught off guard. He'd come to Nexus 7 to escape, not to start something bigger. But the elder's words stirred that old pilot's fire, the part of him that thrived on purpose. "I'm no diplomat," he said, scratching his head, "but I'll take it to them. Can't promise they'll listen, though. Humans can be stubborn, too." The elder's lips twitched, almost a smile. "We'll take that chance." He stepped back, leaving Jack and Leela alone as the traders began to rebuild. She turned to him, her eyes searching his face. "What now, Jack? Will you go back to your quiet life?" He looked at her, then at the stars. That quiet life felt far away now, like a dream he'd outgrown. "Not sure I can," he admitted. "Too much out here keeps pulling me in." He grinned. "What about you? Still want to learn human tricks?" Leela's face lit up. "Yes. Take me with you. I want to see your world, your people. I want to understand everything." Her eagerness was infectious, and Jack felt a tug of excitement he hadn't known in years. "All right," he said, offering his hand. "Let's see where this takes us." She took his hand, her grip firm and warm despite her cool skin. They walked toward his shuttle, parked beyond the outpost's edge. The traders waved as they passed, some calling thanks, others just watching with quiet respect. Jack didn't feel like a hero. He was just a guy who couldn't walk away. But maybe that was enough. As they reached the shuttle, Leela paused, looking back at Nexus 7. "Do you think we made a difference?" she asked. Jack followed her gaze, seeing the outpost already coming back to life. "Yeah," he said softly. "Small steps, but they add up." They climbed aboard, the shuttle's engines humming to life. Jack settled into the pilot's seat, Leela beside him, her eyes wide with wonder as the stars stretched out ahead. "Where to first?" she asked. He smirked, punching in coordinates. "Somewhere with less storms. After that? Who knows?" The shuttle lifted off, leaving Nexus 7 behind. Whatever came next, raiders, storms, or something stranger, Jack knew they'd face it together. Lila's curiosity and his stubbornness had forged something new, a bridge between their worlds. And out there, among the endless stars, anything was possible.